Hey viewers, it's me here, Captain Gyro. Sorry for the delay. Old Captain's feeling a little under the weather today, so I had to stop and have some lunch and prepare my tea. So do forgive some sniffling and some coughing and perhaps a slightly off-sounding voice, but I don't think it's anything serious. I think I'll survive this one. So anyway, we've got some stuff. Some typical Dracula stuff. Well, anyway, I should probably start by saying that this is Scotsword as the Hunters versus Fangs of Fire as Dracula, but you probably already knew that, but that's okay. Obviously, two very good and experienced players, or they wouldn't be here right now, in the semi-final knockout stage. There they are. Hey, Pizza Wizard, thank you for joining. And thank you for joining JB Philly. Good to have you guys. Yeah, anyway, two very strong players, so this should be fun. Should be interesting. Yeah, with the very early wolf form. Pretty cool. Nothing wrong with that. But then the question becomes, well, is it a vampire? Probably not. There we go, now I've got my tea ready. Right, because as Dracula, you typically, at high level, I mean, well, not everybody does this, but you would typically, in order to gain maximum quote-unquote speed, Dracula speed, like movement, you would obviously put down the wolf form 2 spaces, or 3 spaces after the vampire, right? So then the vampire would mature and it would wipe the wolf form off of the 3rd space of the trail, giving it back to you more quickly, right? So in other words, why wolf form that soon after a vampire if the vampire is going to clear it? So it implies it's not a vampire to me. Yeah, this whole event is like big meeting of the elites. Got all the big household names here. JB Philly, Pizza Wizard, Scotsword, Fangs. Strong players all. Hey, we've got a hit. Not a bad search there because, yeah, no rumor token as well. Right, good point, Pizza Wizard. I like that search because when you see a wolf form that fresh, you know, you see something so saucy of a wolf form, it makes you really suspicious that something funny's going on. And yeah, so I like that check because obviously I like it. Dracula's revealed, but even if he hadn't been revealed there, I would understand where you're coming from with that check because Strasbourg is such a hot spot for. Oh, he's got all the allies in the game. Look at this. Yeah, Strasbourg's just such a good wolf form spot, you know? Like, you could check Munich and Strasbourg, or like Nuremberg, Strasbourg, Nuremberg, Zurich. Like, all that would have been pretty good. Although I genuinely expected the wolf form, if he was going to be revealed as having been at Strasbourg, I would have thought that's where he wolf formed from rather than to. But this certainly does open up possibilities, right? Like, did Dracula start in Amsterdam? And then he wolf formed over Brussels and Cologne so that those places wouldn't get picked up by hired scouts. And then later he misdirected the one that he had gone to clean it up. Oh, Scotsword. Ally anyone? Yeah. No kidding. Friends in high places, this guy. Okay, well this is interesting. Dracula, he's revealed in Strasbourg he has no wolf form, but he can now be moving to any one of 7 places. Did somebody say Amsterdam? Yes, Pizza Wizard. It's Amsterdam. I think it could be that. The other possibility is not, right? That could be what's going on. Sure, I mean, it could technically be lots of other things. We're all smart people here. We know that it could have actually been, like, Le Havre or something like that. Oh, goodness. Paris. He went from Paris straight to Strasbourg. I think he was really hoping it wasn't gonna pan out quite like this. Whatever he was hoping, I think he was probably thinking like newspapers would happen, right? And reveal where he started. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got it backwards. He wolfed to Paris. And then he moved to Strasbourg. Right. Okay, so where did he wolf form from? Yeah, true. Dracula could have been there in Paris. You're totally right. But maybe that was acceptable level of risk for Scotsword. Like, heck, maybe... Okay, sure, he's there, but Dr. Seward has, like, a really good combat hand, maybe. Or he's got the escape route, or the planned ambush, the heroic leap, or anything like that might be enough to go there with a little bit of surety that he's not going to get away as a bat. If anybody's going to be on the one-on-one, you would think you'd be fine with it being Seward. But it's still very fresh in the game. It's still very early. So you never know. He could be there with dogs and garlic wreaths and other great items. Yeah, where did he wolf form? Did he wolf form for 36? That's actually pretty clever. Because there's just... I mean, Paris is really, really well connected. There's a gazillion places you could be and then wolf form to Paris, right? You could be in Amsterdam and wolf form to Paris. I kind of like the sound of that, but it could also be Nuremberg. I mean, I get it now. I get what he was doing with the early wolf form. Wolf form to somewhere. And then, if they unravel that, yeah, this is the only problem. It's the newspapers. Okay, so it is 36. If not for the newspapers, though, you could either potentially waste their time really effectively while they look around, like, oh, check 41, check Amsterdam, check... I mean, it could be Zurich. I mean, there's so many options for that card to be that it could have really been a head scratcher for them. So either you waste a bunch of their time or the hoax goes through or what have you. So I can see why you'd want to do something like that. But yeah, with the newspapers, that pretty much puts the kibosh on that, as they say. Especially with it being in such a very well-connected city. But maybe that's part of the plan. Maybe that's what Dracula's plotting. Is now, they'll go to Marseille, which is so easy to get to. And there'll be something nasty there for him. Why would anybody put a hoax in Marseille, right? It's probably, I bet it's like a wolves or something, or a bodyguards. Maybe the spy. I don't know, but yeah, okay, it makes sense because if you're the hunters, right, and you play your newspapers and you reveal Marseille or Paris, like whichever way that had gone down, they're both so very well connected, right? I don't know. You either have to find Paris and then work backwards, or you have to find Marseille and then work forwards from there and figure out where you went next. I mean, the searches with the Allies, and obviously, you know, just moving on to Paris and discovering it with Seward, like, all that stuff put a wrench in Dracula's plans. That's the point. But without some of that stuff, yeah, you've got a real riddle as to where he went, assuming you flip only one of these two cards over. I get that, Pizza Wizard. No, I agree. Like, damaging encounters have their role, but damage is one of those things that if you don't capitalize on it, you don't really get any value from it. Whereas when a hunter is delayed, you're pretty much guaranteed to get some kind of value, because how often are they just gonna pass in the day? Never. Yeah, Bodyguards is actually a really solid encounter. Even though it usually just does 2 damage and reveals a pistol or what have you, it's a solid card because it can mature and still be good. Or if they find it and it doesn't mature, it's still okay. Most of his cards don't have value in both directions like that. But yeah, I agree. Like, damaging stuff is better when you put lots of it down together, right? So first you put down the wolves, and then right behind the wolves is the bodyguards, and then you play the hide card, and you put a rats on top of the bodyguards, that kind of thing. The problem is there's probably better stuff that you could be doing. But yeah, no, they have their place. You can hide on top of like 2 damaging encounters, and then they step on you, and surprise, surprise, you're in a world of hurt. Especially with hunters who like to play aggressively. The trick is to apply the damage and also still be lurking nearby, right? So that they have to suddenly make hard choices. Like, do I step onto Dracula's space? And now I've stepped onto a mob, and now I've gone from 7 health down to 3 health, and I have to fight Dracula still. You know, a little bit of damage can deter them. It can deter the decision making. Like, I don't want to move there because I'm already damaged, and Dracula could hit me with something really nasty. So there's sort of the threat there. But if Dracula's gone to sea, then there's no threat. You know, or if he wolf formed off and away instead of sticking around nearby, then there's no threat. You don't have to worry that Dracula's going to be lurking around the corner. You can just step onto his like previous hideout and clear up the encounter, and it's no fuss, no muss. Yeah, you have to somehow like capitalize on the damage while you got to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak. Because remember, like, when you kill hunters, no hunter has ever really died because Dracula, like, just overkilled them like crazy, right? Like, nobody's ever at 1 health and Dracula lands a claws or something like that. Like, usually when hunters die, or are defeated, I should say, it's just barely. It's by 1 hit point. It's just enough to finish them off, right? Here's a wax cylinders. Hides in the deck. So, I mean, so from that point of view, like, every little bit of damage is meaningful, especially if you do plan on trying to KO a hunter. Like, you're not going to KO anybody from fresh unless they have a bite, right? You can pretty much just guarantee that. And 1 encounter and a fight with Dracula is also usually not enough, right? Like, I step on Dracula, he has wolves, I suffer 2 damage, we fight, I survive. But if you suffer that wolves and then you move on to Dracula and he's there with another wolves or a mob or rats or something, that's way more significant, right? Like, you have to hit him with 2. Anyway, that's my ramblings on it. Has a place, but you gotta hope to, like, still be around when they discover it. You gotta be just around the corner, ready to surprise them. So maybe by that logic, if you see some damaging cards, watch out, because, like, Dracula might be about to do something crazy, right? That's just a thought. What you obviously don't want is a situation where they only just suffer light damage and just keep moving. So just play around with the situations that you want to avoid. You don't want that situation, so yeah, concentrate them together maybe, or save them for when you're going to get jumped on or something like that. Oh, because I mean, there's nothing better than, like, KOing hunters with exact damage, yeah. Strasbourg, so you didn't go to Nuremberg. Yeah, I mean, that sly old dog, he was revealed really early, but the thing about being revealed really early is they probably aren't ready to capitalize on that fact. And yeah, of course, they had to still kind of move around, get their ducks in a row, deal with some of the early encounters, dealt with this bodyguards, dealt with these spies. So, yeah, I mean, the hunters are a little behind the 8 ball at the beginning of the game, which gave Dracula time to just lay out a whole long trail, and we have no real idea where that is. If you're going to be revealed anywhere, better be Strasbourg. One of Dracula's favorite cities. But yeah, it wasn't Nuremberg, so that leaves some other options he's contemplating now. Checking the layers. He didn't go to Paris, so that's actually useful knowledge. That eliminates 2 cities out of 7. Okay, he's getting moving. He's going to check them out the old-fashioned way, it looks like. Huh, but he moves straight to 58. Maybe he's thinking if Dracula... Why did he move to 50? Maybe he's thinking Dracula could have already gone through Munich, and he wants to get ahead of that fact? I don't know if I like that. I would have maybe just sent him to Munich, but Scotsword probably has his reasons. But since Godalming was already in 41, it's highly unlikely that Dracula was... Like, Dracula didn't go through Prague, right? Like, Dracula would have had gone 2137. Actually, you know, he could have been in Vienna with all the cards on the trail. It's possible he took that route. So that does at least check for that. And then maybe you can send somebody else to Munich to check Munich if you need. And then you've got somebody in Munich, which isn't so bad. Yeah, interesting with the check on Vienna, because best case scenario, you do reveal him and now you fight him. Lord Godalming versus the vampire. We're gonna stake Cologne. It's the Wolves. Okay, so now he's gone from 9 to 7, and then looks like he's gonna go from 7 to 5. Unless he wants to reveal 2 weapons. 2 weapons and a stake seems unlikely, though. Oh, he's got double guns! Stay back, wolves. They're not getting a bite of this doctor. He's a doctor of leadology. Well, that deals with the wolves. Where was he before Cologne? Frankfurt. I bet. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Pizza Wizard. Glad you like it. You gotta spice things up a little bit. The game only does so much for you. Although they did add sound effects to the game. I really appreciate that. And barking dogs and stabbing sound of a knife. I think it's Frankfurt. I mean, I saw Brussels sitting there too, but come on. We all know Frankfurt is more profit now. Highly profitable little city. That's where they make hot dogs. In Frankfurt. What do we got? We got another newspaper, maybe? That wouldn't surprise me. There's no way, I mean, he would be concocting some kind of big play right now after Dracula Wolf formed. We don't know where he went. So, what did Dracula do exactly? He went from Marseille to Paris to Strasbourg. It was Brussels. That little dog. To Brussels to Cologne. And then maybe he saved Frankfurt for after. Yeah. Yeah, and he probably went Frankfurt. Oh, he could have done all kinds of stuff. Oh no, this is a disaster. Okay, check Munich, that's good, but the problem is he still could have messed with Nuremberg. Because by then Godalming was here, right? Yes. The bluff of not going to Frankfurt. I'm really going to Brussels. Psych, after that I'm gonna go to Cologne and then Frankfurt. Pistol again, but the henchmen are guaranteed to do damage, whereas the dogs are not. So well played, Dracula. Getting that damage through on the dock. Yes, a psychic bond, if that is what you are referring to, could have been really useful there after the wolf form. I mean, post wolf form. Dracula's smart. He's gonna try to go somewhere that Mina is not near. You would think, right? So Mina was in 36 or 60. No, she was in 51 by then. Who has the horses? Mina does have the horse. I'm right about that. And I know Godalming has a horse. I'm not sure if Seward has the horse or not. I haven't seen that. I know he has a pistol and a rifle. Surprising return. Oh, Jonathan. Hubby! Let's go! He puts in hubby! Oh no, wait, he's searching with it? Oh. I thought you were gonna put him in as an ally. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Maybe, I didn't even, I missed what he even checked, to be honest. Okay, alright. I'll shut up now, Scotsword. Obviously, he's paying closer attention than me. He figured out where Dracula went, where he got lucky. It wasn't Frankfurt. Frankfurt was just a lie told to scare children. Yeah, okay, yeah, Philly, thank you. You're right. He checks Zurich. I guess that makes sense because with Strasbourg as a lair, right, and the whole Brussels Cologne thing already solved, and Godalming where he was, yeah, like at that point the only escape from Germany for Dracula has to be through Zurich, right? At least pre-wolf form. So with checking that, that tells him, okay, before the wolf form, he had to have been in Germany still, right? Yeah, that must be right. Because with Godalming checking Prague, right? So that implies to me that Dracula after Leipzig was when he went to Frankfurt, or he went to 41 with Hyde. Oh, yeah. Frankfurt and then 41, or just 41 with Hyde. That's what it's gotta be. Nuremberg. Where they tried all those mean German men. Okay, it was Frankfurt with Hyde. Why am I all just wrong all the time today? Fangs of Fire playing a rather tricky game, it would seem. Very tricky methods. Yeah, good old zigzaggy Dracula. But hey, the good news is my Frankfurt stonks doing great right now. That's going to be great for my portfolio. I mean, he even hid there too, so that's like double the gains. And then the wolf form from Frankfurt, I guess he's like, that's not that scary because he just immediately checks Clement Pharaon and finds it. That had to have been a horse from Dr. Seward. Yeah. So the horses are falling out nicely, it would seem. And he ambushed with them. That's strange. What? Strange to me, he would ambush. Oh, actually. Well, maybe he suspects dogs, or we've got a fighter vampire. Fog. Yeah, okay, it must have been, and I forget exactly where everyone's position was, but it must have been that when he did that, he was taking a big gamble. Because, yeah, remember, Godalming was in Nuremberg, if I recall correctly, at that time. I mean, Seward was probably getting ready to move from Paris to somewhere. Uh, yeah, I guess it played out to where he was moving to Frankfurt and expecting a battle, and he had to hid. He had to do like a, as I would call it, like a true hide. The reason I call it that is because he's not hiding in order to bait somebody in or lay two encounters, but to actually hide from them, like to elude them by just staying in place. And then you've got the wolf form. Where do you wolf form to? It looks like Geneva now. Yeah, I mean, sure, you don't want to lose a fog like that necessarily, but better to play it and be safe than get caught in some dumb 3-on-1 so early like that. And now the whole rest of the game is dictated by that mistake. Or that calculation or what have you. You either lose that fight and just die, or you walk away limping or what have you. I don't think anybody wants that. He put lots of damaging stuff down. I mean, there's been wolves and bodyguards already, right? Together with spies. So it makes a lot of sense to lurk and linger and hope someone steps on you. I mean, look at Godalming. He's only got 6 health. If Dracula had, I mean, if that had played out a little differently, you never know. Okay, that was bats. No, there was no behind the veil, as I recall. So it was probably Geneva, right? But I've been wrong this whole game. But Zurich was checked. So I mean, Paris is still a lair. No, Paris is not still a lair. He's in Gallia. Ooh. He's in Gallia. Ooh. I get chills. Spooky. Questioning the wisdom of moving John Seward to 36 with no lair. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Where are the lairs? Strasbourg, Brussels, Leipzig. Excuse me. So with the bats in Clermont-Ferrand, there's no lair nearby to send him to, unfortunately. Marseille was a lair earlier, but I guess for reasons of trying to chug through his deck, he has opted to clear it. Maybe when he made the lair, he didn't really have very good cards to put on it, which happens sometimes. You've got like this great lair in Marseille, which is such a superb place for a lair, but you look at your hand and you go, ah, crap. All I can do is put like a rats down. At that point, it's like maybe you just clear it. Because he's probably trying to dig for that other fog, right? One would think. He's still got 5 cards left in the deck. It's possible he already has it. But even if that's the case, you would actually, like Pizza Wizard pointed out, you would actually want this reshuffle to come around pretty soon. So you might as well play the fog. You don't want the reshuffle to happen before either of the fogs hit the discard pile. For obvious reasons. Dracula's proven quite elusive, though. I mean, he has really given them the slip. Oh, excuse me. He's not going to be able to wolf form now or tomorrow. But 3 nights, two nights hence from this night, it'll be wolf form time. And that's going to be his 3rd one of the game. Here comes the rumor token. Rumor token's coming out. No, they have not been sitting and supplying. You're right, Pizza Wizard. They've been being oh, we got renewed vigor. This is crazy. They've been being dragged around by the need to stay on top of Dracula's trail. Though they haven't revealed any vampires whatsoever. I mean, still significant threats. I mean, these spies, these mobs, these bodyguards, like, stuff that needs to be dealt with. Not all of it is just, oh, we could have let that mature, you know. Is it better to jump onto a spy and get rid of it, or is it better to have Dracula mature the spy? The answer is, it depends entirely on the context. Okay, we're horsing about. He was in Brussels? How is... What is Scotsword, a Swami or something? What is he, Karnak the Great? How does he do it? I mean, it makes a lot of sense if in terms of, like, reading your opponent and him wanting to do the crazy thing. I mean, he used Psychic Bond last night, right? Had to have been last night. So then Dracula moved 1 additional space. So 2 spaces from Clement Ferrand, and he was still in Gallia, right? And Strasbourg is a lair. Oh, you fool, Fangs of Fire. Fangs of Fire, how... No! Strasbourg is a lair. That's important information right now. That is huge. I don't really mean he's a fool. I'm kidding when I say that. But that's a very well played Psychic Bond. And had he cleared that Strasbourg, I think that would have been really key, because would have opened up the possibility that he went Geneva-Strasbourg. But without that, that means he had to have gone Geneva-Paris or Clement Ferrand-Paris. Or, Paris-Le Havre, not Bordeaux. Bordeaux not, like... It's a big piece of information, I think. But this is so important for him to know, though. Like, that psychic bond changed everything. Because without that, I mean, you don't know really what Dracula did. You have to just start finding out yet again, which is how he gets another week of trail going. And then instead, all of a sudden, with a psychic bond that gives him just enough information to hazard a guess that Dracula could be on one of these like exterior Gallia locations. Clement Ferrand was just kind of a guess too, though. I mean, he's taking lots of stabs at it. As far as trying to guess his opponent. Yeah. Yeah. With Hyde already up and out, you know Dracula's trying to actually slink away and not say hide in Barcelona. Yeah, the Saragossa check here is good because it tells you didn't go to Barcelona at all because Hyde's on the trail. But tomorrow he'll have no wolf form. He'll have to move either to his lair in Strasbourg, or he can go to Cologne. He can go to Amsterdam or Le Havre. I don't think he could go to Paris unless he misdirected it, because I think that's the way he went. But it's possible he went round, actually. I find that pretty likely. Yeah, that confirms it. Yeah, you skirt the edges. Here you go to 39, 29, Brussels. Yeah, nice strategy, just bouncing around the central areas. You can really drag out the game because turns go by and the hunters go, well, we still don't know where he is. And another turns go by and clear up some encounters. You start to make a little progress. He wolf forms and you go, wow, we still don't know where he is. You gotta do it all over again because there's just so many possibilities with these central locations. And then all of a sudden, you know, you compare that to a game where Dracula's in Italy, or Dracula's in Spain, or Dracula's in England, or Dracula's really anywhere in Austria-Hungary. The East is a little more complicated because it's both obvious and not obvious where Dracula is when he's over there. That's a different discussion. But like compared to anywhere else, he really can just like flit around in circles and take these wacky routes. Depending on how he does it, it can just take forever to figure out where he currently actually is. Unless you just happen to jump on him in Brussels. No, Pizza Wizard, I bet there is a second Renewed Vigor, because that would be very much like Scotsword to not play the Renewed Vigor, you know, if he wasn't totally sure he was going to kill Dracula, right? Yeah, he'd have to be lucky, but would he really Renewed Vigor without the other one? Would he do that? I don't know. Seems kind of not his style. Usually you would just draw out the game, and hopefully eventually you get the other one, and then you can really tackle him at the very end, right after he's gone to sea and gotten hurt. Why try to rush things when it's still like a gamble? It's different when it's not as much of a gamble, but it seems like a real gamble that you're gonna actually get him there. But then again, I mean, maybe you look at the information and you go, I know he's in Gallia, I know he can only be in so many places, I'm gonna go for it now, hope I can damage him, hope I can, gain command of the game with significant damage, and then after that I'll worry about getting the other renewed figure. Yeah. He wanted to escape as a bat, right. He took the fight despite the fog, which is always a crazy feeling when you're Dracula. But, I mean, it's not like you're not getting any value out of the fog, because you are keeping the other hunters out of the fight. But yes, you're right. He really, really wanted to escape as a bat there, because he kind of needed to. With both fogs gone now, and no wolf form available, and no escape as a bat available, it looks like that could be all she wrote. Yeah, this is a really tough spot. I don't know what you're supposed to do here. Scotsword even took care of the lair in Strasbourg, so there'll be no funny business there going to Strasbourg. And yeah, he'll have to misdirect that one. Just well predicted, JB Philly. That's exactly what happened. And that's the correct move. It's unfortunate, but it is what you have to do here, because you have to open up some possibility that you're not in 2 or 16. The rumor isn't supposed to stick around. Depends who you ask, JB Philly. Depends who you ask, right? Is it associated with the encounter or the hideout? But either way, when I think the rules say when there's no more encounters on the hideout, it's supposed to clear the rumor. I'll check it out later, but yeah, there's a house rule at least to implement it. Well, yeah, it won't have any effect, because it's not like he could lair the misdirect, and without becoming a lair, the rumor token will just fall off. Yeah. That's correct. So where is he going to move? 29 or 2? Or is he going to be real cheeky and go to 16? Because if you go to 16, and Godalming checks 2, and Van Helsing... no, it's hardly any better, because you'd still have to fight Seward and Mina and Van Helsing. Seward's going to check 16 immediately if they don't find you in 2. So maybe for that reason you move to 29. And Godalming checks 2, Seward checks 16, and Helsing goes to check 29, and then Mina has to roll a 2 on her horses to get you. Yeah. Oh, right. You're right. Godalming's really wounded. That changes the calculus a little bit. So you move to 29 then, because then it's a twosome. It's a 3-way fight against Van Helsing and Mina, as opposed to a 3-way fight between all 3 of them. Yeah, yeah, the heroic leap was painful. Would have been nice to just fight Godalming there, and then, you know, you're hoping for a good scenario where you escape as a bat, even if you have to suffer a little damage for it. Plus, we've seen surprising return. How many of them? We've seen one. Okay, so we've seen one surprising return, so you've also got the mindset where it's like maybe he's not going to surprising return to get Agatha back, because he might not have the second one. So you won't have to deal with Agatha, and you can... Yeah. Classic Misthios. Game's not over till Misthios leaves. Okay, renewed vigor. Renewed vigor, speedy telegraph. You could actually move Dr. Seward to Brussels and then have Godalming heal. And then Dr. Seward, you know, could potentially still have an action like that moves him, right? So he can still check for Dracula. Yeah, the Roscoe mic drop. It's brutal. He's seen it all 1,000 times before. The slow stranglehold. This is classic Scotsword with the very slow but steady stranglehold around Dracula at the key moment. Key moment usually being right here. When wolf form is on the very last space of the trail, that's when you want to kill him. Because otherwise, you might lose the game, right? And ever since the update, with wolf form coming back to Dracula's hand essentially one turn sooner than it used to, it's like... Oh, excuse me. It just makes the necessity of catching up to him in a timely fashion with all the more, well, necessary. Yeah. Good points. Good points in the chat. Yeah, you just... Sure, he's gonna die, but so what? It's 4 points. That doesn't mean anything at this stage in the game. Dracula can have 10 points, so it wouldn't matter. Let him have the 4 points. Sure, Godalming dies, but assuming he doesn't have any important events, that's not really a big deal either. I mean, you want him to survive here. Maybe if there's a chance, you try and go for it, but like... Yeah. Well, it is an ambush with a Reckless Vampire, so actually it would be 5 points going to Dracula. So that's important. Well, potential 5 points, right? Like if he lands a Fangs. I mean, if he throws his top hat at him, he won't get a point for that. But why not Fang, right? Oh, what a mad lad. That's smart. That's huge brain play, because Scotsword's sitting here thinking, he's probably gonna kill me. I may as well go down swinging, right? Yeah, I mean, it could have been claws, it could have been strength, it could have been a lot of things that would have messed that plan up, but there's no point running away like a coward when you're probably gonna die anyway, right? And you can afford to die, and CG doesn't matter here, and it's just... Why not try to kill it? Why not at least try? Just go down swinging. Yeah. Exceedingly well played. And now, he's got him in the old 4-on-1 checkmate scenario. Yeah, yeah. Well said, JB Philly. Little too sneaky for his own good. I think we've all fallen into that trap before as Dracula. Um, yeah, he led them on a very merry chase, right? Look at how much time has passed. Oh my goodness. One more week, and then it's getting close to being scot-free. But yeah, that psychic bond catching him in Brussels, the fact that like he could have probably by then he could have been in Alicante ready to go to the Mediterranean Sea or something. Um, yeah, it's like sometimes you just have to punt, right? And say, all right, I might be going to sea now, but hopefully I can come back later in the game and win. Instead of trying to, like have your cake and eat it too, and just be sneaky forever and move on land forever. Yeah. Also, yeah, possibly a bit of a misplay around Frankfurt there, but not easy to see what the future will hold at the time, right? But yeah, having one more fog there could have been really important, or just one more fig. Yeah, if he hadn't had to play both of the figs, he would have had a fig that he could have put down in Amsterdam. And then if they don't have a forewarned, you can just ambush them with the fig, and you might get away at that point. Go to England, wolf form, that kind of thing. Or go to the North Sea and then wolf form. But yeah, I mean, he was surrounded by hunters. It was a scary situation. You're thinking, put this thing down, and oh, he's got the great strike. Yep, nice. Punch him. KO. Socked him on the jaw. Good game, that. Good game. Yeah, led him on quite the merry chase, quite the sneaky hunt. A real pain in the butt trail. See you tomorrow, yep. Yep. And as for you, kiddies, maybe if you're lucky, you'll see me tomorrow as well. And we can catch the next game. Until then, it's been a pleasure having all of you on board for this. Thank you for watching. And thank you for participating in Fury of Dracula. The greatest board game of all time. And we'll see you next time, everybody. So, wishing you luck. I'll be signing off. And have a great afternoon,